I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is another paid request. And if anyone's interested in requesting pretty much any type of video, topic, reaction, review, re-review, randomness, out of the blueness, whateverness, commentary, topic, whatever, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now, this is for the new Candyman film, which is a reboot, but it is a sequel, which I'll get to that. Now, the original Candyman I like. The original Candyman, it does have commentary. Racism, the projects and how run down they are, and how poor people are, and what's going on in that part of the projects, and there's commentary you can look into. That's easy to see, and it's not like I'm going to sit here and say Candyman had none of that. So, okay, if you don't do another Candyman, yes, there's going to be some commentary as well. Whether social commentary, whether it be racism, whether it be whatever. The difference. Number one, this movie fucking sucks in terms of acting, in terms of characters. It's not scary. It's not creepy. And it feels like it's barely a Candyman movie, which I know people are like, what the hell are you talking about? But again, the original film, and like a lot of films back in the day, it was the story coming first. The story portrayed by the characters, the story portrayed by decent writing, the story portrayed by other avenues put into place to tell your story. The original film, Tony Todd, Virginia Madsen, this Dracula, maybe Phantom of the Opera type of seductive story. Helen, be my victim. And I'm not saying to do a carbon copy. Honestly, I would say you don't need a fucking new film. Do your own fucking movie. But, that's just me. Here, it's commentary, social issues, woke, commentary, and a story. And that's what a lot of problems with movies today. Yes, you can have commentary in your films, but when you're first, second, and third on the call sheet, and oh, by the way, here's characters, and oh, by the way, here's story. Yes, I think that's a fucking issue. And I think that's a fucking issue with a lot of fucking movies today. To reiterate, the first film, story first, characters first, then the commentary. Here, it's the fucking reverse. There's more shit about the commentary, Black Lives Matter, the cops suck, and cops do this, and white people built the ghetto and then erased it when they realized they built the ghetto. And, oh, your kind are real pioneers in that cycle. Oh yeah, what kind is that? Artists. And I want to make a new Candyman, because I want this Candyman. I'm going to have it so you get killed by cops shooting you. And then you will be vengeance. So Candyman legend will not be used as a fear tactic, the public's fear perpetuated. It will be a weapon, like a weaponized Candyman to go after bad people or bad cops or fucking white people. I don't fucking know. That's what I mean. This in-your-face, ham-fisted commentary by the directors and the writers, one of them being Jordan fucking Peele. And Jordan Peele, I like to get out, which was not subtle, but at least I got into the characters. At least the story I thought was interesting, as well as the heavy social commentary. This, not the case. At least not in my opinion. I'll give credit, the director had a couple interesting shots with a couple of the kills. Not that they were gory. A lot of times they're kind of off-screen, or if they're not off-screen, they're far away. But there are a couple interesting ideas. There's a couple interesting shots, cinematography-wise. The acting, I thought, was rather weak. The lead guy, who's this artist, I didn't give a shit about him. I didn't give a shit about his plight. I didn't give a shit about his wannabe Nightmare on Elm Street 2 Freddy's Revenge possessed paradigm. And there's more to that character, which makes this a sequel to the first film. And yes, I'm spoiling the fuck out of it. I don't give a fuck about his girlfriend. His girlfriend has a brother who's gay, and he has his mate. I forget the character's name. And they are two of the more unfunny, stereo-fucking-typical gay guys I have seen in a long while. I'm ready for them to go, oh my god, no you didn't. They're as... You ever seen In Living Color? Damon Wayans, David Alan Grier doing the movie reviews? That's how they fucking acted in this movie. I'm not even over-exaggerating. And Jordan Peele, I dare you to write or direct, because you wrote this, you didn't direct it, to write or direct a horror film that has no social issues. Whether it be a slasher film, whether it be a creature feature film, I want you to challenge yourself and do a movie that is just about characters, story, or even superficial stuff like blood and guts, laughs. Well, I would say Keanu wasn't a bad film, but I'm talking about a horror film, so maybe not loud, but like, you'd have levity, but again, whether creature feature, whether it be on action, horror, scares, all that, without commentary on it. I dare you to do it, and I don't think he could. I don't think he can write a horror film script that details that. Again, I know people will say, well, Candyman, the original, had it. Yeah, it had it. But it was more of this Phantom of the Opera, Dracula, Helen, be my victim, that type of thing. And again, I'm not saying you need a carbon copy, but it knew that it told a story with characters first and foremost. You felt bad. Virginia Madsen did a good job. Not because she's white, but because good actress. A character that you felt sorry for. You felt sorry for her being wronged and being framed for a crime she didn't commit, and her reactions and trying to save her friends and not being able to. And then Tony Todd being a very interesting, charismatic, deep, soothing voice presence. He made for a great villain. The Candyman here, it felt like he was barely in the film. There's multiple Candymen. It's not just Candyman, there are multiple Candymen. Because apparently any black person who dies, tragically I guess, will become a Candyman. If that's the case, as movies like this suggest, that they make it seem as if 100 black people die unjustly in a week, technically shouldn't there be like 1 million Candymen everywhere, in every city? Like Jehovah's Witness? Candyman ready to knock on your door? Here's a Bible, and then I slit your throat, and then I put the Bible in the throat that's been slit. That premise just, like, why do you have to change that around with the premise when this is a sequel, and it wasn't broke the first time? And it tells Tony Todd is back as Candyman. Yeah, you wanna know when he's in it? The last 10 fucking seconds of the movie. Where it's the body and like a CG Candyman face, like they tried to do a fucking Terry Fisher from Road One. And you hear Tony Todd's voice, and then in that 10 seconds, he still gave more of a performance than anybody else in the movie. And again, it's just this ham-fisted commentary, first, second, and third on the call sheet. It's like, oh, by the way, here's the Candyman story. This is called Candyman. I mean, it starts it's so goddamn subtle that the goddamn opening has, oh, the Candyman can. The fucking song in the title. Oh, the Candyman can. That's how the movie fucking starts. And then the director at times has a couple interesting ideas. The very opening tells the fact everything's backwards to think of a mirror. You look at a mirror, things are backwards. So the tile stuff, why is everything backwards? Or it's like a mirror. Because mirrors are very prevalent. But at other times, this film is as subtle as a jackhammer up your fucking ass. So you have a kid doing this puppet shadow thing. And what's the puppet shadow thing he's doing? Not about maybe the horror story of this thing. Can't say the name Candyman, but this figure. No, it's about cops. And a person running from the cops. And the person going, I didn't do it. And the cops, shh. Your hands. Let me see your hands. Now, spoiler, the reason they do that is because in the 1970s, there was a guy who would give people candy, which I thought kind of weird in the first place. This candy could be fucking poison for all you know. And he's holding a fucking hook, which makes it even a bit weirder. He's a guy who barely talked, holding a fucking hook, giving kids, candy. And the cops just swarm in and killed him right on the spot, off screen. And then at the very end of the film, this is how ham-fisted it is. Even though our lead guy, again spoilers, our lead guy is on the ground, fucked up, ready to pass out. A woman is holding him, his girlfriend. The cops come and go, pew, pew, pew. Literally, the guy's like this. Then the cops go in, and they still go, pew, pew, pew. I'm thinking, yeah, I can see what this was inspired by. And I hate talking about this shit, but they bring this shit up. By the way, on another note, Jordan Peele and director and other writers, if you really want to go there, you do know when that incident happened with George Floyd, you do know there were 4 people, right? You do know that one of them, of the 4, was another black person, right? And you do know another person was an Asian person, correct? You do know that, right? And you do know that the Black Lives Matter, with all those peaceful riots, there's also a bunch of fucking shit being stolen, businesses being burned down, businesses being fucking torched up, and innocent people getting killed, including a retired police captain who happened to be black. And Jordan Peele, in case you don't know what that guy's name was, his name was David Dorn. A retired police captain who died trying to do the right thing to protect people from rioters. Some were peaceful, but some were not. And by the way, in case people ask, when other people did the rioting at the Capitol, because Trump, I don't appreciate that either. I think there was wrong on that front. I think there was wrong in the rioting on that front. I think both have their issues. I think both parties have their issues. That's why you come together, you talk, you try to work it out to hopefully do better. But I know that's stupid thinking. God forbid. What do I know? I'm sorry. Going and making a business and people who did nothing wrong of various colors of the rainbow, genders, ethnicity. Well, my business is now shut down. I hope I can feed my family because you stole a TV. Because I don't know what that has to do, stealing a TV and stealing candy and stealing food, what that has to do with Black Lives Matter. But, and also the other side, there's all, I hate talking about this stuff. Both sides, there's both sides that have people that know what they're talking about. There's people who support Black Lives Matter. To me, I'm like, well, every life matters because I thought we're all equal, not one above the other. I know that's stupid thinking, apparently, but to me, everybody and every race is up shit creek today. Until you walk in that person's shoes, you don't know. So don't just base it on color, creed, sex, gender. Whether you're Asian or Indian or whatever, they could be going through stuff even worse than you, but to say that they don't matter because they're not this certain color, that is a definition of racism. So to me, if the concept is, yeah, there is racism around, and it sucks, yes, and it does suck, and it does piss me off. I have a good friend on YouTube who happens to be black, and because he gives a different opinion on a fucking movie, people will write the N-word to him. And if I could find those people that wrote the N-word, I would want to kick them in the fucking balls. When I grew up, I had neighbors, and they weren't treated poorly, but it was a white guy married to a black lady. I don't want to say their names in case they don't want to be, trouble brewed their way. And to me, I look at people, I go, I care if you're a decent fucking person. I don't give a fuck. Appearances. You're tall, you're short, you're big, you're thin, you're Ally McBeal, you're George Jefferson, or you're George Wendt, or you're George Kennedy, or you're George of the Jungle. I don't give a fuck. As long as you're a decent fucking person. But I know that's stupid thinking on my part. And with characters, I just care if the character's worth the shit. That's why this character from Predator 2, Danny Glover, Mike Harrigan, is one of my favorite characters because he was a badass character. And Predator 2, a favorite of mine. Funny enough, one of the few things I dislike about this film is killing off Ernie Hudson. Because I liked his character. I love this film, but Ernie Hudson should not have been killed off at the end. That's one of the few big gripes I have about it. But again, you gotta bring up this stuff. Because again, it's not about... While you talk about the story, because it's all about this fucking shit. So you have that opening where the kid's doing this puppet shadows about the police chasing someone. Pretty much in modern time. The lead artist guy who, oh, I'm an artist and people don't appreciate me and I want to find something to spark my creative, artistic integrity. I'm like, we've seen that done plenty of times. I reviewed a fucking film and I don't even remember what the fuck the movie was called, but it was a movie that had a poster with like teeth in the wall. That was about an artist that was looking for inspiration, and the inspiration he gets is a voice in this hole in the wall that will also eat things. I forgot what the fuck the movie was called. I've seen this before and stuff. It's not original, but okay, it's Candyman 2021. I'll let that go if the character's interesting. But it's not interesting. He wasn't interesting. His girlfriend wasn't interesting. His girlfriend's brother and his boyfriend, a gay couple that is just, again, unfunny, stereotypical to high fucking heaven, and telling irritating jokes. And the dialogue. White people built the ghetto and then erased it when they realized they built the ghetto. Yeah, gentrification, tearing it down. And someone even says, oh, tear it down to make a nice place like this, which you are living in? Think about it. You tell how bad it is that these places were shut down, but you are a person of color living in a place that is very fucking, I don't know, nice to look at. Upper echelon. You can't tell me suppressed. You can't tell me about being suppressed if you have the most high-tech computers and phones to your name while there's people out there living in a box. So, I don't know, just whatever. I mean, you have a nice apartment that would take people to work 3 jobs to afford. So they talk about the first movie and the legend of Helen, only the legend's been altered because so many years have gone by, the legend has changed where, oh, Helen, she was a murderer. Helen is Virginia Madsen's character in the first movie. And she killed people, and she killed the dog, and Helen was the killer. And I can understand that where legends, they spark one thing. As time goes on, people hear it differently. It's kind of like if you do a challenge, if you did like 20 people and you whisper something and maybe they hear it differently, then they tell someone else. By the time they get to the 10th person, the story could be completely different. So the lead guy is looking to these projects, wanting to be inspired by it. He gets bitten by a bee, and slowly throughout the film, he slowly starts changing. Which made me think a bit of Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, which I would rather watch that film, because that film is more entertaining. It felt more like a Freddy movie than this does a Candyman movie. There are social issues with that, with homosexuality, and you just say it's not subtle, but at least it was interesting. I still saw the story told first and foremost of Jesse being possessed by Freddy, being scared, being afraid, and a lead character that I did feel sorry for. I felt sorry for Jesse in Freddy's Revenge. I saw much more acting. When he realized that Freddy used him to kill his best friend, and he's like freaking out, "You killed him." I can't do a good job of it. And he takes a glove and he throws it at the mirror. I thought that was pretty good acting. I do. I think it conveyed the sense of frustration and anger and just near the deep end of just what am I going to do next, which you don't get in this from this guy. And this guy doesn't come off as likable. There's a point where people have been killed and this guy sees it on the news and goes, "Wait a minute, they said my name." the news said my name. And even the girlfriend goes, "What the fuck?" Well, I mean, it's bad. It's sad what happened to them, but that's our lead character, folks. A guy who's laughing at people that got killed because, oh, the news said my name. This is our character we're supposed to give a shit about. Compared to like Virginia Madsen in the first film, where she's a student looking to urban legends and gets slowly pulled into Candyman's world. At one point, the lead guy talks to this guy by the laundromat, this guy named William, saying about the cops. Are they keeping us safe? Or are they keeping us in? And this William guy, when he was in the 1970s, he was a kid, and he's the one who saw this guy who would give out candy, barely talk, hold a hook, and then kind of suspect. When you have a guy who doesn't talk, giving kids candy, and he's a stranger, and he's got a hook in his hand, it's a bit suspect. I don't care what fucking gender, color, creed, ethnicity you are. If I stood there with a fucking hook, I'm not even talking. I'm like, what the? But again, just how they view cops. I can. And by the way, they've done this too, where a cop has fucked up. Tales from the Hood. Tales from the fucking Hood did this story and did it better, and it only did it like 20, 30 minutes. Go watch Tales from the Hood. There's a fucking segment about a guy that got killed by cops. But that was done in a stronger, better written, better acted, more entertaining than this. So sorry, Tales from the Hood already beat you to it, movie. Go watch Tales from the Hood. Interesting stories that did have commentary in it. But the story's characters were first and foremost in the stories, and then here's the commentary underneath. Here's the commentary, and then character story buried underneath it. So the lead guy, he's looking around, he's doing his art show, people don't like what he's done. This goes, oh, you're kind of real pioneers of that cycle. What do you mean by people? You people. Your kind. Artists. And if you're wondering, well, when you don't talk about much of Candyman itself, this movie, without the end credits, is like an hour and 25 minutes. It still feels like it's fucking forever before a Candyman thing happens. I'm not saying you need to have Candyman kill people every 5 minutes. But that's what I mean. It feels more like being taught some fucking social issues as a pretentious college class than a fucking Candyman horror story. I'm sitting there going, where's the fucking horror in your fucking horror movie? Until finally, two white dipshits, guy and a girl from the art show that was critiquing, they're at their own place. They say the Candyman stuff 5 times. And the dialogue, like, credits are giving this a pass. And I'm like, have the credits not heard this dialogue? This is how the two people talk. Oh, don't say his name 5 times. I don't want you to die. At least not until we fuck. Oh, you know what? Go ahead, do it anyway. Necrophilia was always my thing. This is the fucking dialogue in the fucking movie. The credits are given, 85% of Rotten Tomatoes. We've gone from Tony Todd being a great Phantom of the Opera type of villain, Helen, be my victim, to, I don't want you to die, at least not until we fuck. And so, there are interesting ideas. I mentioned the beginning of the film where the titles are in mirror image backwards. You're wondering what's going on. Oh, okay, that's why they're doing it. In this movie, the Candyman of this is killing people, and you can only see him through the mirror. Which is weird. Like, I guess different Candymen have different powers and different things. Because, like, Tony Todd, his Candyman wasn't just you only saw him in a mirror. You did see him in the mirror, but you also saw him in reality. Like Virginia Madsen, other people saw him when shit was going to get real. Not the case in this. But okay, they want to do something a little bit different, alright. Again, kind of weird in comparison with the first movie. But this, you only see him in the mirror. And it's like, they want to get a little bit of that from The Invisible Man, which I know some people didn't like. I liked that movie from last year, 2020. I did like The Invisible Man, where people get killed, but there's no one there. So a woman gets her throat slit, but there's no one there. But it's funny, her boyfriend then literally goes, "Is this real? Your fucking woman's got her throat slit, and your reaction is, Is this real? No, it's Steer Tactics. With Shannon Doherty. Fucking hell, man. That guy trying to escape, he just dragged away, killed off screen, pretty much, after being dragged away. And that's the two people where the lead guys watch on the news, like, the news said my name. Yeah, great fucking character. Yeah, those two might be assholes, but you're still laughing about people that died because they said your name on the news. Why am I supposed to care about this guy? And before then, it's made no deals as to why I should care about this guy. And then at one point, the guy's in the mirror. He looks up. He sees that Candyman. I see that because again, there are different Candymen. Again, apparently, if you're a black person that dies tragically, you become a Candyman. Or can become a Candyman, or I don't know what the rules are to be a Candyman. Are there white Candymen? Like if a white guy dies, can he be a Candyman? Are there Asian Candyman? Is there Hispanic Candyman? Are there Latino Candyman? Are there European? Like, what are the rules here now? What are the rules when you bring up this whole idea of multiple Candyman? And this Candyman is boring. By the way, everything I've talked about is the first 45 minutes of this movie, and the movie's only like an hour and 25 minutes. So it's over halfway, a little over halfway through, and all we did of really Candyman is him killing those two people, and this whole thing where you're in an elevator, you look up, there's a mirror, and the lead guy sees it, freaked out. That's 45 minutes. And this Candyman doesn't talk, he has no character, there's no personality. That's a big fucking downgrade from the first movie for Candyman. He's just like a faceless killer. How is that an upgrade? When you do reboots, sequels, aren't you supposed to do better? How is this better? What is supposed to improve? But this is a sequel. Because the lead guy, you find out, was the baby in the first movie. At the end, that Virginia Madsen saved. And then, just what pisses me off about fucking movies like this, it makes the first film pointless. What do I mean by that? What happened in the first movie? Virginia Madsen died tragically, but at least she saved a baby. No, because when that baby grows up, it becomes an asshole artist who got bit by a bee, gets possessed. Because he's possessed by this bee, or because he got bit by the bee, so is he possessed by the Tony Todd Candyman? Because of that bee bite? I don't know. You would think there'd be times he would see, and then he would... But he would not see the Tony Todd Candyman. He would see... That's another thing. He just bit by the bee, but he doesn't see the Tony Todd Candyman. He sees the Candyman that the one guy saw in the 1970s that died from the cops because he giving out candy, being a weirdo. So... That's the little boy that the Tony Todd Candyman wanted, but this other Candyman's like possessing him. But it's not possessing him because it's not like, oh, is he going to use this guy's body to go out and kill? No, the guy just goes out and kill, and then also this guy's changing because of a bee bite. Because the one guy from the laundromat, William, what he wants to do, now that the lead guy is becoming more and more discombobulated, is he's kind of in a almost like catatonic state. William, this guy, saws the lead guy's arm off, hand off I should say, puts a hook on it, and says, I called the cops here, and the cops are going to blame him, they're going to shoot him, and then, you know what he's going to do? He's going to be pretty much a fucking vigilante. I mean, how do you know that? If Tony Todd's Candyman died from tragic circumstances, he didn't become a vigilante. The guy from the 70s died from tragic circumstances. He didn't become a fucking vigilante that killed the bad people, whatever. So how the fuck do you know this will work? And if it's the weaponized Candyman, don't you already have that since you already have a Candyman? You just, if you don't like someone, you somehow trick them to say Candyman 5 times in the mirror. Isn't that, there's already a Candyman around. Wouldn't this Candyman, so apparently this Candyman, if you say it 5 times, you don't get killed, whoever the bad people are get killed. And I guess that's the new legend now. Does that mean if I say it 5 times, I just summon Tony Todd, and for shit to do, I did tell him what to do? I don't know, man. Like, just, but what make up whatever the fuck you want. Because the story fucking sucks. And it's not scary. It's not creepy. And it's like the movie itself fucking knew, oh shit, we're like an hour in. We got like 20 minutes left before the fucking end credits. Shit. You know what? We've only had Candyman really like once in the fucking movie. Twice if you count the bit here. So, oh shit. We better throw some other shit in there. So, there's this one person that our lead guy talks to. And then, interesting shot where the guy leaves and she had said Candyman 5 times. The camera pans out of the building. And as it gets far away from the building, very tiny, you see that she's been lifted up and killed. And her blood smears on the glass. And you see it from very far away. While you see all the other people in their rooms oblivious. That's an interesting idea that belongs in a better movie. Belongs in a better movie. And then you get these 4 white, I think they're like, I don't know. I think they're all like all white teen girls in a bathroom being the bitches. Being a bitch to the black girl in the bathroom, listen on her headphones. They said Candyman 5 times. They get killed pretty much off screen. You don't see much. You see like one of those mirrors girl has for makeup. And you see maybe like a girl getting dragged by an invisible force. But you don't really see much blood, guts, or gore in it. No fucking scene in this movie had the intensity of the original film, where I still remember to this day the flashback where the story's being told of the kid that went to the public restroom and he was screaming bloody murder and they found him and his junk was gone. And the kid's like screaming on the bathroom floor and you see this blood on the walls of the bathroom, the toilet. That's a freaky moment, freaky image, freaky sequence in Candyman, the original. Visceral, intense. Not one goddamn scene comes close in this movie. And if you think there is, enlighten me on which scene. Enlighten me. So the guy's trying to weaponize Candyman, this William guy. And I'm like, how the fuck do you know that this Candyman will react that way? I think the other Candyman were killed like Tony Todd character. He was with a woman who happens to be white. He unjustly got killed and covered with bees, and that's why he was called Candyman. Because the sweet taste of honey of the bees and honey like candy, and some kids and people would say that. Anyway. Trying to remember what the fuck happened next. Oh. Then William decides to chase after the girlfriend of the lead after the guy cut the fucking hand off. I'm thinking, okay, where's the other Candyman? Are you gonna... I'm surprised you didn't do... How about this? You say Candyman 5 times and I'm gonna kill your boyfriend. Psych. Okay, now Candyman's gonna go after you. Like, that Candyman's, like, disappears now. Even though, of the, like, 3 kill scenes in the movie or so, it was the Candyman of the guy in the 70s. Now he's kind of disappeared. And it's because now this guy wants to create a new Candyman for the world of today. And then that William guy tries to kill the girlfriend kills him in self-defense, and the lead guy who turned the fucking honeycombs, where's the honeycomb bee when you need him? And he's literally on the ground, he can barely move, he can barely talk, the girlfriend's literally cradling him. The cops come in, I'm like, this is lazy. This is like an asshole third grader's view on a police officer. Yes, some of them are bad, but some of them are good too. And if you're going to do that, then you gotta make it a bit more creative, smarter. This might be the hooked on phonics version of fucking writing, man. Come on. And again, it's as blatant as a bullet to the head. And as subtle as one. God. So then, she gets put into the cop car. The cop's going, now, you don't tell people that, we had just cause, right? Otherwise, I don't know, maybe this guy had an accomplice. I've seen other movies that have the dirty cops aspect. But again, just the way it's done and the way it's handled and the way it's like cartoonish almost. For the story it's supposed to be so social heavy and barely a Candyman story in a fucking movie called Candyman. She says it 5 times in the rear view mirror. But William was right. This Candyman does kill. Will kill the guilty. They will say that innocent blood has been spilt. But that is not the case. I don't say you're the Punisher now. Are you the Crow? To make the wrong things right? So then this Candyman kills the cops. And if you're thinking you're at least going to get like a visceral, gory blood-a-thon of practical effects, no, most of that's done off camera too. And then the girlfriend goes after the lead, who's the new Candyman. The guy turns, and for some reason his face becomes Tony Todd. Why? If they've established there's multiple Candymen. If there's multiple Candymen, then why does this guy, who's now a vigilante Candyman, why does his face turn into the Tony Todd Candyman, who has a different background than this Candyman? Does that mean Tony Todd Candyman is now a vigilante as well? Are they merged as one? The two Candymans in one body? Or just... it's one figure, and whatever the fuck he wants to, it'll just be this figure, this figure, this figure. Okay, then why is it not the lead guy's face? Why is it Tony Todd's face? Why isn't it the one guy's face that we saw from the 1970s that's been Candyman the fucking 3 other times we've seen them? Oh, it's Tony Todd's face because nostalgia. Remember that? Remember them berries? Remember Tony Todd? We could say that he's Candyman, just technically he is for the last 10 seconds, where he goes, tell everyone, tell everyone. Why Tony Todd if this is the new legend of Candyman? The original dealt with issues, but it was a story first and foremost. It was a horror story first and foremost. It was a tragic backstory of Candyman mixed in again with this ode to Dracula, Phantom of the Opera. All these qualities put into it. Again, with a character that you felt more sorry for because it was a person who was framed for a crime. You felt more emotion to it. It was more focus on that. Like, it felt like shit was either cut out, and this was supposed to be a longer movie, and there was shit cut out that was supposed to flesh the story more, or shit was, Like, the 4 girls getting killed in the bathroom, that almost felt like it was random. It's not random, but it almost felt like, oh shit, we don't have as much killing in this. Put this in there. It feels like that. The musical score in the first movie was rather good. The score in this completely forgettable. The acting is subpar. Again, the 2 gay guys are stereotypical, unfunny as fuck. The guy who's William, the laundromat guy, the guy who wants to create a new Candyman, he's trying to chew the fucking scenery. Like, just hyper. There's some interesting shots of direction. And I think this lady's now going to direct like a Marvel film. I think, isn't this the girl that's going to direct the new Captain Marvel, the Marvels, like the Captain Marvel sequel? I know she's directing a Marvel film. Because you don't need talent to direct a Marvel film now. You just need brownie points of social issue legitimacy. Like, that's the only... You don't need to have, like, great talent of writing or direction. You just need those brownie points. No wonder why so many fucking of these Marvel movies suck nowadays. Or like back then. You know, even back in the day when you had films like Boys in the Hood and these other movies, there were social issues, but it still told a fucking story first. Characters first. And whatever, like horror, Candyman had the horror first. The first Candyman did it. It did feel like a horror film. This barely fucking did. And it was, even though it was 80-some minutes long, it was fucking boring. It was boring as shit. So fuck the new Candyman. I would rather watch the Candyman sequels. Candyman 2, Farewell to the Flesh is meh. Candyman 3 is dog shit, but at least I can watch Tony Todd. That's the only legitimacy that film has, is Tony Todd. Granted, Candyman 3 looks like it's made from fucking table... So almost this close to table access. But Tony Todd's Tony Todd, and Tony Todd's still more to watch that than this fucking movie. With a shitty story that's all over the place, doesn't want to make up its mind, create whatever the fuck he wants off the cuff, off beaten path, reminds you of better movies. Yes, including Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, among others. And again, it wants to say that if we have social commentary, you can have social commentary, but you need a story and characters you give a shit as well, too. Or if it's horror, sometimes a superficial horror, blood and guts helps as well. Can't always save it, but it can help as well. It didn't have nearly enough of that either. So, and it wasn't intense and it wasn't scary. Fuck. So, with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.